this amazing event this week. It's been a lot of fun. So we're going to talk about hybrid work inside of Microsoft 365 today, specifically using Microsoft Teams. So let me go ahead and get my screen shared here, and we'll go through a PowerPoint real quick. Awesome. All right, so we're going to be talking about Microsoft. We're going to be talking about hybrid work being powered by Microsoft Teams. So hopefully during today's session, what we're going to learn is understanding hybrid work's meaning and how Microsoft Team impacts that. We're going to talk about how to stay connected and collaborate in this new hybrid world. Talk about managing your personal well-being. Simplifying and streamlining your work activities, and how to make the best use of collaboration tools before, during, and after meetings. That's where a lot of us are doing most of our work nowadays, right? Is in Teams meetings. So we're going to talk about how to make those the best possible experiences that we can. So some of the things that we're going to be covering today, we're going to be covering Microsoft Viva again, really quickly. I know there was a course earlier in the week. Hopefully you had time to watch that either live or going back and watching the recording. We're going to dive back into that just a little bit. We're going to talk about some Microsoft 365 applications that are integrated into Teams, things like approvals, Task by Planner and To Do, Whiteboard, among other things. And then we're going to dive into those tasks by Planner to help manage your day and help manage your teams. We're going to be talking about hybrid meetings as well, too. So we're talking about how to design effective and inclusive hybrid meetings, how to help manage meeting fatigue, and how to help create the best hybrid meeting experience. And hopefully out of today, you're going to really understand and really be empowered to make something great together inside of Microsoft Teams. So we're going to walk through tools and features like Whiteboard and other things that's going to help you create these inclusive and engaged experiences all across the Microsoft Teams platform. So while you're working in that hybrid work environment, you're going to be empowered to get the most done, whether you're doing it so in a chat, in a team, or even inside of a Microsoft Teams meeting. And through all of this, you're going to see how Microsoft Teams and the M365 environment helps you stay in the flow. So we're going to have all the best apps and features that are going to be available to you at your fingertips. And you're going to become more focused, more efficient. And we're going to show you how to stay connected today, right? How to use meetings, how to use chat, how to use Teams to get the most out of the Microsoft Teams platform and get the most work done that you can. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our live demonstration today. So just a heads up with our live demonstration today, I am using a demo environment within a virtual machine. There's the word that we wanted to start with. So there could be some parts of this that maybe is a little barren and it doesn't reflect my actual work environment because this is a demo experience, but it should be really close to reflecting what you have in front of yourselves as well too. So when we think about hybrid work, right, it's been a really dramatic shift over the last 2 or 3 years because of the pandemic, which accelerated this move to hybrid work. But there was a movement before that for us to go to this, right? And hybrid work means that we can be working anywhere at any time, right? Whether we're at home, in the office, or on the go. And that necessarily doesn't mean that we can always be in the same place at the same time, both physically or virtually, right? And Microsoft Teams helps bridge that gap so you can stay connected no matter, even if you're not connected at the same time, right? Work in sync or work asynchronously as well. So when I like to start my day, utilizing Microsoft Teams, what I like to do is I come over to my left-hand rail over here, and I'm going to look for my Viva Insights. We had a Viva Insights course earlier in the week. Hopefully you got something from it, and we're going to do a quick little overview of it again as well too. So Viva Insights is tremendous because it helps you get your day started. It also helps you manage your day as you're working throughout the day as well too. So when I come into Viva Insights, I do a lot of work for home, so I don't have that drive time any longer to help get that break from going from my house to an office. Now it's essentially going from my bedroom to an office, going upstairs to downstairs, or some type of motion like that we're all familiar with nowadays, right? So Viva Insights can help help bridge that gap, that drive time where you can listen to the radio or just kind of collect your thoughts for the day. Viva Insights can help break that up. So we have Headspace integration right here to help take that to get your day started, or also help take breathers throughout the day to help decompress, right? So you utilize the Headspace motions that are right here, or just like take a break. So come to your activities that Viva is going to have uh, recommended for you as well too. It's also a great tool to use at the end of the day to help break from your end of the day, right? Because you're not going to get in a car and go home a lot of the times. You're going to again get up from your chair and then walk to a different room in your house. And Viva Insights can help break that day up for you, right? Because it's hard to do. It's great to have the flexibility to work from home, but there are times that it is hard to have that break, that delineation of like, this is work time, this is home time now, right? But once you are in the right headspace to get to work, you can come over to your Stay Connected. And this is going to give you a great overview of the day. So show you upcoming meetings that you have coming up, and maybe items that you need to follow up on. So you can see right here, I can see that Risa on our team has been working on a document that might be of interest to me. So I can quickly jump into that document and see what she's been working on. It's also going to give me some insight into some meetings that I have coming up that I haven't RSVP'd yet for, or need some sort of action from me. So I've been invited to this group sync at 1 o'clock today, and I haven't RSVP'd yet. So I can go ahead and either accept or decline that RSVP right from this screen right here. So it does a great job of helping see what's going on in my day, what's pressing. And then I can also make sure I'm protecting my time throughout the day, because we do want to make sure we're taking the time for ourselves to not only decompress, but to develop ourselves as well too. And this book focus time is really going to help that, and also help protect any sort of focus time that we already have booked. So if there's any sort of conflicts with meetings, we can either help resolve that, or maybe shift that focus time to a different time as well too, right? This is going to be one of those portions where my demo account is a little bit barren, and that's going to be the effective meetings. So I haven't really been in any meetings on my demo account in this for the last little bit. But if you have been, what it's going to do is it's going to kind of give you some details and some summarization of meetings that you've been in the last 4 weeks, and look for patterns and give you recommendations of how to better manage your day when it comes to meetings as well. And then if you need it throughout the day, like I don't know about you all, there are times I'm in back to back to back meetings throughout the day, and I don't have a lot of break time between them, right? So coming in here when I do have those couple minutes with the inspiration library can like really help me create some clarity for myself, help me decompress, de-stress, and just prepare myself to jump into the next thing I have to do with a clear break. Because I don't know about you all, but there are times that I'll get done with one meeting. I may have like 5 or 10 minutes available before the next one, and I just jump right back into work, following up on emails or preparing for the next meeting. And really, there are times what I need to do is just kind of like, you need to take a step back and take a breath. And these are guided things that can help you do that within Viva, right? And a lot of them are really short. You can see we have some more lengthy ones around 9 to 20 something minutes. We also have some that are 3 to 5 minutes. So it's a really great thing to help you decompress and get in the right headspace for the rest of the day, or for the next task that you have done, right? Now, there's a lot of applications that we can dive into with Microsoft Teams to help manage our day and get work done. And I'm going to explore a couple of those as well too. But what I'd like to do next, after I come into Viva Insights to start my day, is I noticed that up here on my left-hand rail, I got a lot of chats going on. I have some notifications inside my Teams, and that can maybe at times be a little overwhelming to find out like what's important and what you need to check up on. Do I normally have 24 messages when I come in for the day? No. Are there days when it's like that? Absolutely. So what I like to do is that instead of just diving right into the chat or Teams, I like to use the activity feed on the left-hand rail here. So this actually gives me a breakdown of like what's important to me. It's giving me updates of the conversations or the teams that I'm a part of, right? And this also is a lot of stuff to sift through, right? But what's great about the activity is I can easily filter this down by clicking on these three little lines right next to the cogwheel, and then click the little ellipses right there. And I can really break it down to see what's most important to me. When have I been at mentioned? So that at mention is when someone's typing the at symbol in your name, and that's giving clear line of sight to you that this is something that's super important that you need to pay attention to. I can also break it down by replies, and the replies are conversations that I've actively participated in. So I've either started or I've contributed to, and there's been an ongoing engagement in that conversation. So it really helps me dive into see what's most important and what's pertinent to me. So I can quickly get that important stuff out of the way, and it makes it a little bit easier than to then go into my chats and look through what else is going on, look through the teams and see what else is going on, because I've already known I've gone through the most important things I need to check for the day. So we're going to come back to both of these sections of chat and teams in a second, but I want to further explore the left-hand rail and some of the other applications that I use on the personal use side here. And that's what's important to know when you're looking at applications on your left-hand rail. These are your personal view of these applications. So apps inside of Microsoft Teams can be used in a variety of ways, depending on where you're at inside of the inside of the Teams application. But when it's over here in your left-hand rail, this is your view. So it's showing the information that's pertinent to you. So some of the other applications I love to use to help manage my hybrid work experience are going to be my Task by Planner and To Do. So inside of Task by Planner, what this is showing me is a combination of both tasks that need to be completed that are inside of my own personal to-do list. So we have an application called To Do, and you can use that to manage your day. And it's also showing me tasks that I need to complete that have been assigned to me through various planners that I'm a part of. So Planner is another Microsoft 365 application. It's a tremendous mini project management or task management system that you can heavily integrate inside of the teams and channels that you're a part of. But what I like to do is I come into the Task by Planner and I see typically start on the assigned to me, and I'm able to see a list view of all of the different tasks that have been assigned to me and what various stage that's in if they're overdue. You can see I'm really slacking right now in this planner. I have things that are almost 3 months overdue. I need to get caught up. But what's great about this is it helps me manage my day, helps me prioritize what work needs to get done. And I also have line of sight as to what impact or what team this is impacting, because it's going to tell me the source and I can see what team, excuse me, and then specifically what channel that this task has been assigned to. And then I can even click on it and get more line of sight to that as well too. So I can open this task up, possibly. Perfect. Gotta love live demonstrations, but I could typically click on this, open it up. It's going to give me a card view and give me more information of this task as well. So I can prioritize what's important to me inside of this view. But as you'll notice on the side over here, I also have my shared plans. So on the left-hand side, right next to the left-hand rail, I can then actually see all the different planners that I'm a part of within all the different teams and channels that I'm a part of. So I can have the bird's eye view of what's important to me, but then I could easily go in and see, oh, I have this holiday sales number within the monthly reports of the marketing team. So I can come down to my sales and marketing team right down here. I can see here's that monthly reports planner, and I can jump and I can see all of the work that's going on inside of this planner now. So instead of just seeing what's been assigned to me and what I have to do, I can see everything that's going on within this planner that the team has to get done now. So it's a great way to get your day started with this Task by Planner and To Do application. I also like to come down here and check my approvals. And what we found is approvals is one of the highest used applications inside of Microsoft Teams. It's a tremendous application to use to just do some basic requests like time off or business travel or something like that. But you can also really customize it and make templates for approvals as well too. But again, the approvals app on the left-hand rail, just like with anything, is showing me only my view. So it's going to show me everything that's important to me, and it's kind of like bringing everything from all the different venues to do approvals into one space just for me. So what I can have a breakdown of is all the approvals that I have to do, so the approvals that I've received, and I can also keep track of any approvals that I've sent. So if I've sent some time off requests, or if I need to do a business expense, anything like that, I can keep track of what status those are in as well too. And these approvals are highly customizable. So as you can see in the top left-hand corner here, I have a new approval request. So I can just do something really basic, really generic. And if I just want to, just like, hey, you want to grab lunch or something, I don't know why I would do that for approval, but I could type that in there and I could send it to someone, right? But I can also come down here back to the left-hand side, the bottom corner. I can actually go through and make templates for the various teams that I'm a part of that are using approvals. So you can see for this, for one of my teams, the West Tech team, we've created a business trip approval. So when people need to go out and maybe do some on-site training or tech repair or something like that, they can go in and anyone on this West Tech team can then submit an approval for business travel. And we have a template completely made for them to go through and fill that out. And you can see I can come in here, I can now edit this existing form or this existing approval as well too. So we're just going to go ahead and close this out. But I can go in, come back here, and I can make a new template. And we have so many templates that are available to you to really build off of and customize. So if you need some time off templates, we have that in there already ready to go for you. They can easily go in there and take some time off. If someone needs overtime, we have that in there. We talked about the travel, right? Maybe someone needs to rent a car or needs some sort of car for business purposes. We can easily create the templates that we can build off the templates that Microsoft has already created for us, or you can even come down here and create one from scratch. And so approvals, again, in this view on our left-hand rail, this is showing me everything I need to pay attention to with approvals. So whether I can make one, keep track of ones I've sent, or approve or deny approvals. But approvals is further integrated into other aspects of Teams, and we can generate an approval through either a chat or, as we saw, I can create templates and have them integrated with a team as well too. And we're going to show that in a couple minutes. But as we've been exploring this left-hand rail, you can definitely see how my left-hand rail probably looks a little bit different than yours, right? And this is one of the great things about Teams is the customization that you can do to help get work done and set it up in a way that allows you to get the work done that's most important to you. So to add these applications onto the left-hand rail, what we first want to do is find those applications. And what we want to do is we want to come down here to the apps on the left-hand rail, and we can search for different applications. And some of the applications I've been showing so far, like Task by Planner and Approvals, these are first-party applications made by Microsoft. But you can also potentially have access to third-party applications as well too. So if there's a program or some sort of software that you utilize on a daily or frequent basis, go ahead and explore Teams and see if it's there. Now, in all transparency, your organizations can determine what applications are integrated into Teams, what they allow, what they don't allow. But it never hurts to go in and try, right? And we have some pretty big name third-party softwares that you have access to inside of the app store here. So for instance, if I wanted to search for ServiceNow, we use that in our organization. I can easily search for ServiceNow and find applications to integrate inside of Teams. Maybe you use something like Workday. Go in and Workday is right there, right? Or even I know we have a great polling feature made by Microsoft through Microsoft Forms, but maybe your organization uses Poly, really powerful polling software that's also integrated into Teams. But all you have to do is search for it and then click on it, and then you can add to a team, or if you have to drop the menu, you can even add it to a chat or anything like that. And then once you've enabled that application, it'll show up in your little ellipses over here, and you can simply right click on it, and then you can pin that to your left-hand rail. So a lot of customization. So any application you've enabled that has a personal use, you can jump into with the little ellipses or search for it again. Or if you want to have quick access to it because you're going to use it all the time, just do what I just did and just go ahead and pin it. So you notice I just pinned that word by just right clicking on it and then pin it. And if it ever becomes less important to me, I can just right click on it and then unpin that as well too. But definitely go in and search for these applications because you can easily search for what you're looking for, or we even have it broken down. So if you're maybe not sure of what application can fit the need that you have, go ahead and break it down what you're looking for. We have it some top features, we have it by categories and even industries. So either search or go ahead and do some exploring. Awesome. So what we want to do now is I want to dive into some features within the chat and the Teams portion of Microsoft Teams to explore this hybrid work motion even more. But before we move on, are there any questions that we want to address?
Yeah, I'm looking through now. A lot of them have been resolved already so far, but if keep the questions coming, these have been great interactive discussion. And David, you're plugging away really nicely. Lots of nice features.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, let's dive into chat, right? So in this hybrid work environment, it's hard to be in the same place at the same time. Like I said earlier, whether you're virtual or whether you're physical, we're doing a lot of asynchronous work. And Microsoft Teams Chat and Microsoft Teams really help bring that to life and enable us to do more work. And we're probably familiar with a lot of the features, right? You can easily share files. We can also add in applications into our chats by clicking the little plus icon at the top of our chats and searching for applications to integrate. So it makes it easier to stay in communication. It makes it easier to collaborate when we're not in those same places or online at the same time, right? But I want to explore some newer features that have come out as well too. But before I go into a new feature, I want to show you. I do want to show you that I mentioned that approvals can be generated through a chat. And if we come down to the very bottom of our chat right here, so if Macaulay and I are working on something, I can come over to my chat with Macaulay, and I can click on this little half circle with a check mark into it, or three quarters of a circle with a check mark into it, and I can generate an approval. So if Macaulay and I are going back on something, and maybe I need an approval on a document, or I need an approval to go someplace, right? I can easily create a really basic generic approval and send that to him. Or I can also generate one from a template as well too. So we have full approval integration into chats as well. But one of the newer features that I want to show you that helps us get more work done even better in a hybrid world is something called Microsoft Loop. So Microsoft Loop is a new application that we introduced earlier this year, and the full application has not been released yet. But it's going to be a powerful and flexible canvas that's going to have some portable components that allows us to easily stay in sync and move freely across different applications in the M365 experience. And some of those components have been released inside of Microsoft Teams. So if you're not familiar with Microsoft Loop, it's going to be an amazing experience. So this is a component, or this is a tool that can be utilized in the chat feature of Microsoft Teams. So if we come down to the very bottom of our chat window here, we're going to see this little loop icon, right? It's a circle right there, and it's not fully closed. I know it's hard to see, but that's what's cool about it. It's not a fully closed loop because we're always doing work on it. But we click on this right here, and we're going to have these different loop components. So what's great about this is we can put all these different type of components in here. So let's say maybe we want to put a table in there because we're keeping track of some equipment. We can easily build out a table and put this in there. And now this is a live element that Macaulay and I can work on. We can collaborate in real time together on this loop. So when I make a change to it, Macaulay's going to easily see that and he can make a change to it. When I send this message, it's going to put it into the chat. But again, this is something we can easily go back and edit. So I don't have to go up to the top here and hit the edit button anymore like I would with a normal chat. I can just dive right in to this loop component, and we can start editing it together. So you can see right here, Macaulay's now in here editing this loop component with me. But what's great about this is that this loop component does not just have to live within this singular chat between Macaulay and I. So what I can actually do is I can come over here and click on this copy link icon. And I can now go to a different chat. It can even be a group chat. So let's go to this Mark 8 project team. I can now come in. I've copied that loop component link. I'm going to paste that. I'm going to paste that into this other chat, and you're going to see that same loop is now in there. I can see Macaulay, even though I'm in a different chat now, Macaulay is in there editing that, And now everyone who's a part of this chat is going to have access to it. So it makes doing work across different groups or teams even more flexible now. So I can start from a singular one-on-one conversation and expand that to other conversations to get this work done. And any change that's going to be made in any place that loop component's in is going to reflect in all the other places where that loop component lives. So again, I started this loop component inside of my one-on-one conversation with Macaulay. So now if I go back to that one-on-one conversation with Macaulay, we're going to see all those changes that I made show up here, just like that, right? And what's also great about it, we're not just limited to Microsoft Teams, because this loop component is going to expand as the full program becomes realized and released later. But what I can do in the meantime is I can access this in Teams, or if I actually click on the title of this loop component, it's actually going to open it up inside of a web page for us to continue to do work on as well. And by default, when you create a loop component, it's automatically saved to your OneDrive. So it's automatically cloud connected, which is allowing us to do the work that we're doing in sync, right? This asynchronous work, so we can stay in sync with each other. And we can still edit this. We can still work on it. I can still have line of sight to see who is working on this document and where they're at in this document. And even from the web page here, I can still share this out. So I can hit my share icon here, and I can invite even more people to continue to work on this loop component. So like I said, the full software of Loop isn't released yet, but we do have some components inside of Teams, and you can definitely see the value of this. So you don't have to go to one specific document or email a document back and forth with each other. You can just work on components of a document or a motion. And eventually with this loop, what you'll be able to do is then turn these into full-fledged realized documents as well too. But for now, you can work on the components and build that out. So an incredibly valuable collaboration tool that can take your collaboration inside of chats to the next level. So I want to next transition and show some features of Microsoft Teams inside of the channels. But are there any questions that we wanted to address around chat or loop before we transition over?
David, I wonder, it's kind of a topic on the side there around pinned icons on the left rail. Maybe you can address a little bit. Some folks are saying, hey, I can only see X amount on the left rail. Can you address why that is, and then where do the apps go, once you add them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about screen resolution. That's really what it is. So the higher your screen resolution, and also how big you make the icons on the screen will determine how many icons you can see here. That's really what it comes down to. So I have a pretty high resolution on this screen. It's a 1920 by 1080, and I'm not zoomed in anything greater than 100%. So I have a lot of real estate to work with over here to see those pinned icons. But it's really about, and I think there is a limit to how many you can have pinned in general. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but for the most
12.
part, it's
Yeah,
12.
12.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it is basically limited to your screen resolution. So you may not be able to hit that full 12 or see full 12 at all times on the left-hand rail because of the resolution and the zooming in on your screen. But that's not necessarily say that they still aren't there for quick access. So if I hit the little ellipses right now, I can then quickly have access. So if there's any sort of overflow with the pen, so maybe you're only able to see like 7 of your 12, if there's any sort of overflow, when I click the ellipses, I'll have a pinned icon right above the recent, and I can jump into those pinned icons right there still too. So it may not be on the left-hand rail. There's just one extra little click involved to pop that out and get back into to other pinned applications.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
No
We'll
problem.
keep the questions coming as they come in.
Awesome. All right, well, let's jump into Teams now, the namesake of the application as well too, right? And this is definitely another avenue and platform to allow us to stay in sync together, even when we're not in that same place virtually or physically at the same time, right? So teams allow us to collaborate and communicate in a much more structured manner, thanks to the use of the different channels, right? Which hopefully we're all really familiar with that. So within our Market project team here, you can see we have about 5 or 6 different channels that we have assigned for various different groups or motions or what have you, right? But we can take these this work and these these channels to the next level with the ability to integrate applications, right? So let's go into our design channel. And we can see here in our design channel, we're having our conversations, which is fantastic. But we have more tools to collaborate with. And one of those tools is going to be Task by Planner and To Do. So to add applications into your channel to get more work done, you just click the little plus icon again at the very top here, just as we saw in the chat. And then from there, we can quickly access applications that you've used really, really recently. Or you can actually even search for applications as well too. So for instance, if you wanted to use something like ServiceNow or Workday, look for those and see if they can be integrated into a channel, or other applications like a Tableau or something like that you could potentially add in. And you can see here, we have a lot to choose from. So we're going to showcase Task by Planner, but you could easily pull in a Power BI report. So you can easily stay up to date on the metrics, something that you're working on, right? Create workflows with Power Automate inside of here. Even have a website pin. So if there's a website that you all frequent all the time, have that pin inside that channel so you don't have to potentially leave Teams to view something. Just go right to the website. But we have our Task by Planner and To Do. So we can create our own sort of project management or task management system that's specific for this channel of this team. Right. And when we're creating a channel, again, we're creating it for a very specific purpose. It's typically either for a subgroup of our overall team that we have, or maybe it's for a project that we're working on, or something like that. Right. So a channel exists for a very specific purpose. So this planner is now going to have a very specific purpose as well, too. So we're just going to call this a demo planner really quick for this channel. And we're going to go ahead and hit save. There we go. And now we can start building this out. And if you're not familiar with Planner, it is a tremendous piece of software that's included in your M365 subscription. It's like a mini project management or task management system. Has a lot of versatility to how you have it set up. So what we have, the way we set it up though, is we have these things called buckets across the top here. So we always start with the to-do bucket. And then we can also, it looks like Macaulay's assigned something to me already. And then we can have add new buckets as well too. But let's go ahead and kind of see one that's more realized, right? So I'm going to come back over to my Task by Planner. And I can see that Macaulay put something for me inside, I believe, the design planner. Yeah, right here. So Macaulay had my design planner assign something to me right there. So I had that little notification that popped up in the bottom, but I also have I can go to the planner and see directly what I have to do. But the way Planner wants to be set up is you have buckets, and these how you set the buckets up or what you determine goes into a bucket is all up to you, right? So the bucket can be maybe a project that you're working on, an overall project, or maybe it's a specific motion of a project that you're working on, or maybe it's like daily, weekly, or monthly tasks that you need to have completed. And that's so there's a lot of versatility with how you can set up Planner. And then within each bucket, what you do then is you create the different tasks that need to be completed. So you have add a task here, and you can do a really quick task just like that. So we can just call this a test task 2. Set an assign date for it. Let's have this due next Friday. And then you can assign it to a person or persons. So let's go ahead and assign this to Annie and to Macaulay here. And then we can add the task. So we can do something very simple and very basic, just like that. Or we can now then click on that task once it's been created, and we can build that out even more. Put start times into it, end times into it, whether it's a repeating task or not, as well as put more detailed notes into it. And then as we work through this task, we can add more notes or items to it, like add actual attachments like documents or things that we're working on, JPEGs, pictures, right? Or even add a checklist of how to get things done. So it's a fantastic way for you to get work done and stay in collaborative mode with everyone on your team, but give clear tasks and responsibilities to very specific people. And it's really easy to monitor as well, too. As we saw, we can go directly into the team's channel, each individual channel, and see it, or through the use of Task by Planner or left-hand rail, we can go back through and see everything that's assigned to us, and then have quick and easy access to all the planners so we can help manage not only our day, but manage what our team needs to get done as well. Awesome. So what I want to end on today, then spend the last 15, 20 minutes or so, is talking about Teams meetings. So that's where we spend a lot of our days, and that's where a lot of our collaboration is coming from, right? So before we jump into Teams meetings, are there any questions on channels or planner that we want to touch on?
I don't see anything, David.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and come down to calendar, right? And this is where, I don't know about you all, but this is where I spend a lot of my days now, is in Teams meetings and is in the calendar. So this is really where our collaborative work comes to life. And this is probably where we're going to be in sync most of the time. But what's great about Teams meetings is that just like with chat, just like with channels, it's still a great platform for us to work asynchronously as well, too, because of the Teams meeting lifecycle. So while we have some really powerful tools we're going to explore inside of the actual team meeting through applications that we can integrate, we can start getting that work done before we meet, so that when we do have those times when we're in the same place at the same time, whether physically or virtual, we're making the most efficient use of that time. So before the meeting, what we can do is we can go in and we can start working on things before that meeting even starts. So let me go ahead and create just a new meeting really quick here. We're going to add Macaulay to it. We're going to call this test meeting. And we're going to go ahead and schedule this for next Monday. There we go. He's saying he's out of the office, but for the demo purposes, we're just going to go ahead and ignore that. So we're going to send this out, and we're going to go over to my calendar for next Monday. And right there's that test meeting that I made. So what's great about this now is that I can start doing work before that meeting takes place. So once noon on Monday rolls around, we can jump in and we can get more work done. So we can start a conversation. We can start chatting even before that meeting time. If I know there are going to be files that we're going to upload, I can upload those. But more importantly, if there are applications or tools that I want to use to bring my meeting to life more, make it more inclusive, make it more engaging, I can start the work in those applications or start integrating them into the meeting even before that time as well. So one of the great tools that we have available inside of meetings is Whiteboard. And you're going to see that Whiteboard is already a default tab that's available to you inside of the Teams meeting details. So I can go into Whiteboard, and this is what Whiteboard is. It's a digital canvas that allows us to collaborate and ideate and lead more effective and engaging meetings, and help really drive conversations and learning forward even more. So what I can do is I can go into Whiteboard, and I can either start a completely new whiteboard that's specific for this meeting, or I can already use an existing whiteboard. Because Whiteboard itself is not only integrated into Teams meetings, but it's also its own standalone application as well, too. So we can actually use Whiteboard even not connected to a meeting as well. But if we have an existing one, bring that existing one into the meeting, or go ahead and start one in a meeting and then continue to utilize it once that meeting is over as well. So for today, I'm just going to go ahead and use an existing whiteboard that we have, just because it has some content in there. Really not that huge of a difference if you start a new one. You're just literally starting on that blank digital canvas at this point in time. But for this one, I want to integrate this Hello Trainers whiteboard that we have here. And basically, we have some content in here. We can continue to bring this life. So like if I wanted to structure this a little bit more. So what we've integrated right now into this whiteboard is a template. So to put this in here, we've actually come over here to template. And you can actually see we have a bunch of different topics for you to choose from. For this one, we've actually chose brainstorm. And you can actually see all the different types of brainstorming templates that you have access to. But we can go in and we can start going ahead and giving some more details to this, right? So these are some things that we're going to want to talk about during this meeting so we can get it prepped up even before that meeting starts. And Whiteboard is not the only type of application that we can start setting up before the meeting even takes place. We can also have other applications that we utilize, and to see more of those, just like with chat, just like with channels, we want to hit the little plus icon and add in more applications. Another one of my favorite applications to make these hybrid meetings, virtual meetings more engaging is the use of polls with Microsoft Forms. So I'm going to click on, and you can actually see it's already right here, one of the apps that's optimized for meetings. But if I didn't see it, again, all I had to do was search for it. But I can go ahead and I can enable polls. So we're going to go ahead and click add here. And I can start building out questions or polls that I know I'm going to want to ask during the meeting. So it's going to help save more time, help mitigate any sort of downtime, and really just make it more engaging and have a great flow if I have these questions already made. It has some recommendations or suggestions for polls that I can quickly make. So if I just want to have like an icebreaker, maybe to start the meeting off, I can just go ahead and put that in there, and it's going to have a poll ready for me to deploy right in the meeting just from a suggestion. But I can also come in and I can make my own poll as well too. And you can see all the different choices that we have: multiple choice, word cloud, anything like that, right? So let's go ahead and just make a multiple choice one, and we can say, what day is it today, right? And we can just go ahead and put my options right in there. Tells me that already exists. So let's go ahead and just put a different option in there. And we're going to save as a draft, right? So I have these questions locked and loaded and ready to go ahead and just deploy them when we're in the meeting, so they don't have to have that awkward, like, hey, someone make this poll for me real quick, or hang on a second while I get this poll created. We can easily go in and just launch that while we're in there. So now let's go ahead and join this meeting and see how these things come to life. How all that prep work beforehand can really help us not have any downtime and have a more engaging experience. So when we're in the meeting, what we can do here is at the very top now, we can see I have some options available to me. And one of those options is polls. And this polls is here because I integrated this app before the meeting started. So I had an application, or I had a poll that I wanted to use to start this meeting as an icebreaker. So how are you feeling today? I can just go ahead and hit launch. And I can launch that poll, and everyone in the meeting is gonna get a pop up on their screen to go ahead and take that poll. And then the results for that poll are now going to be in that chat. And when it's time to integrate that second question that I had prepped, I can go ahead and launch that one if I need to. But if something else comes up that I didn't plan for, I didn't have a question prepared for, I can easily go ahead and create a new poll directly inside the meeting and have all those same options, right? Now, I also had prepped that whiteboard. So in order to use Whiteboard, what you want to do is you want to go ahead over here and you want to hit share. And then under share, you're going to have Microsoft Whiteboard. So I'm going to go ahead and integrate or bring up the Microsoft Whiteboard. It's going to choose the whiteboard that I had selected before the meeting started, and I can quickly jump in and get to work. And now anyone who is inside this meeting is going to see this on their screen, and they're going to be able to interact with this whiteboard. And this is one of the great things about Whiteboard, is that it's not a viewing experience. It is an interactive experience. So it's kind of just like the virtual version of us being in an office room together, and there being a giant dry erase board on the wall and people getting up and taking their markers and writing stuff down. We can do that now virtually. So I showed the template that we have right here, but we can also quickly just come up and select a pen, and we can start drawing over this, right? Start circling over this as well too. Put reactions into it. So if someone really likes objective one here, they can drop a heart right in there as well too. So a lot of variety of how to interact with this, but this is one giant endless canvas that we can interact with. So I can actually come through and I can actually zoom out, and you can see how far I can zoom out, and I can just simply then maybe drag the whiteboard over zoom back in a little bit and have a completely new area to work in, to ideate and do more work on. But if I want to reference that, I can, again, that other portion that I was on, just zoom back out, find what you're working on, and screw back, and then jump back in. And what we're actually going to see now is Macaulay is in this meeting with me, and I can see he's actually now also in the whiteboard and see that he is doing work together as well too. So anyone who's in the meeting now can be inside this whiteboard, creating together, ideating together, working together in this live interactive canvas that we have, right? And again, this is going to be stored not only inside of this meeting, even after the meeting's over, but also in the whiteboard application. So we can at any time jump back in and continue to do work on this whiteboard. But if we've reached a finalized portion of this whiteboard, and we want to kind of keep track of this, I can also come over here to the little gear icon in the top right-hand corner of the whiteboard, and we can also export this as an image. So we can also keep a physical history of this whiteboard as well too. You can see how this can make your meeting come more to life. It gets, while we may most of the time not be in the same room, this kind of gives us that feeling that we're in the same place working together. And this is one of the great things about Microsoft Teams meetings, is utilizing Whiteboard in there as well too. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my whiteboard now. But a couple other components I want to showcase that really bring your Teams meetings to life are how we've integrated different Office applications into your meetings. So if I come back up to my share screen right here, you're going to see that I can share my screens. Either I can share an entire screen, or I can share a specific window. Difference being, if you share a screen, everyone sees the screen that you're sharing. Everything on the screen that you're sharing, let me emphasize that. If you share a window, people are only seeing that specific window that you're sharing. But to make the meeting a little bit more interactive, instead of just having a PowerPoint up on one screen and sharing that screen, I can now share a PowerPoint and utilize PowerPoint Live. So I'm going to go ahead and browse my computer right here. I'm going to upload a PowerPoint to it. And so what's great about this is PowerPoint Live helps you bring your PowerPoints to life even greater. So what's great about this is if you're co-presenting something with people, you don't have to anymore like share your screen and then say, hey, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so Macaulay can take over for him. Anyone who's listed as a presenter inside of this Teams meeting now will have access to the presenter view of this PowerPoint Live. So if you present it in PowerPoint, you're familiar with this view where you can see all your background slide information, you can see your notes and everything like that. But I can easily progress through the slides and go through my portion. And then when it's Macaulay's turn, Macaulay can go up to the top here and he can take control over this PowerPoint Live and he can cover his portion of it. And the audience doesn't see that awkward transition anymore of me stopping sharing my screen and Macaulay then taking over the screen to present his portion of this PowerPoint. So it's really seamless and it takes our collaboration to the next level and generates a better experience for your audience overall as well too, right? What's great about this though as well too is that you make it interactive for the audience because the audience won't see the presenter view if they're in an attendee status, but what they can do potentially is they can cycle through the slides. So as you're going through it, if maybe they want to kind of get a quick sneak peek of what you're going to be talking about, they can progress their slides without it impacting anyone else in the audience. And there'll actually be a little button at the bottom as they're regressing that lets them say, go back to presenter. So they can stay in sync with the presenter at that point in time. And you can also turn that off as well too. So if you don't want the audience to be able to progress the slides on their own as a presenter, you can also go through and turn that off. So not sure why I'm not seeing that option right here, probably because we don't have any attendees in this meeting. But you can also turn that feature off to stop attendees from getting too far ahead of your presentation as well too. But with PowerPoint Live, you can definitely see how it brings your presentations as a presenter more to life. It makes it easier to handle, especially when you're collaborating with other people. but it makes a much better experience for your audience because it gives them some control. Because I can definitely tell you, I'm pretty sure we've all been there as an audience member when someone has a PowerPoint up and they go past a slide really fast that you were trying to get a screenshot of, or maybe that you were trying to take some notes from. Well, utilizing PowerPoint Live and sharing it this way, they can go back through that slide and get the notes they need without asking you like, hey, can you go back and show that, or without interrupting the presentation for everyone except themselves. So PowerPoint Live is a tremendous way for you to have a better experience as a presenter, but also to have let your audience have a much more engaging experience as well. And it's not just PowerPoint that we can do this with as well too. We can also fully upload a, sorry, I hit the share button here. We can also upload an Excel file as well too. So this income data driver, I can actually go ahead and share this Excel file with everyone in the meeting, and then we can collaborate in real time on this Excel file. So maybe we're having a budget meeting and we're using Excel for that. We can go through and we can all collaborate in real time on this document inside of this meeting now, which is a fantastic, fantastic experience, right? And then we also have other tools to recommend to make your meetings super engaging. So Jonathan mentioned them at the beginning. You have your ellipses at the top here to turn on live captions, which is a great feature. But I want to show it to you again here because as the meeting organizer, what I can actually go in and do is I can go in and I can determine what the spoken language of that meeting is going to be. So this meeting today is going to take place in English. And that way it helps others translate that. So like if someone is a Russian speaker and they're coming in to this Teams meeting that's being done in English, it's going to help translate for them on that on the back end of things, going from an English speaker to a Russian speaker, right? And I do that because as meeting organizer, I've gone through and I've set what the spoken language is going to be for this specific meeting that we're in today. But we talked about the team's life cycle, right? So we've had a great engaging experience while we've been inside this meeting. We did a lot of work prior to the meeting taking place, and that work can continue to take place even when the meeting's over. So if I go back to my calendar, I can find that meeting again. I can double click on it and I can jump back into it if I wanted to, but all those items that we were working on are still going to be there. So here's that whiteboard that we had integrated previous and then brought it up in the meeting. I still have access to that whiteboard to jump in and do work. Here are those polls that we integrated as well too. We can see how people have answered those, right? If there's any chat that was taking place, we have access to that. And if there's any files that were shared, we can have access to those files. And that's how Microsoft Teams meetings especially make such a great engaging hybrid work experience, is because we can better use the time we have together, which at times may be rare, by doing the work beforehand, setting everything up beforehand, have these amazing collaborative experiences once we're inside the meeting, and then continue those motions and conversations once that meeting is over. Awesome. So that is all I have for today. So hopefully this gave you a little insight as to how to make your hybrid work life more engaging and more collaborative using Microsoft Teams.
This is awesome. Thanks, David. I appreciate great presentation. Just going to share one additional slide here as we wrap up. Yes, everything will be shared. I promise you. We will send you an email this afternoon once we get the video up, and we'll get that out to you. Needless to say, we'd love to hear your feedback and your comments. Click the QR code. We'll drop, you'll be able to open the survey. Give us feedback. That feedback's super important to us, so that way in the future, we can have better presentations for things that are important to you. Needless to say, as I start to wrap up, if you'd like to join the Health and Life Science Community Connection group, click on the link, hit the QR code, and sign up. We do these 30-minute snackable videos every month. We look forward to having you come back in the future. Keep an eye on an email. We're going to start working on things for the springtime, believe it or not. But until then, have an amazing holiday. Be safe. Have a great new year. And we'll see you back in 2023. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for coming.